Wild, Wild West is upon us. Wild victorious against BDS on bank. They cash in 2 out of the 3 points, gents.
Finally, a victory after I mentioned it. But it's still, I will say this.
You're speechless.
Yes, I keep expecting more from them. I keep waiting to see those 3 points because they deserve it. They deserve it. They played so well.
They dominated this game.
Honestly, they were in control almost all the rounds. It's just a pity to see them only take 2 points there.
Yeah. Then you know what? Let's snap back to reality and send ourselves in for our interview. Joining us, of course, is Evan from Wild. And look, Evan, congratulations on the win on the 2 points. We just have to talk about one specific thing. Jack, all yours.
Evan, I've got a clip to show you, and it's going to be Sneak hiding in the basement behind the Azami. I don't know if you see this. The Monty drops and opens up the Azami on the dropping animation, and the Blackbeard manages to just catch him. This went from genius to kind of troll within 2 seconds. What happened?
That's that's very unfortunate. We kind of stole that play from Geeky, and I think there's a clip of someone in America doing it and getting fused as well. I feel like that's not got a very high success rate. Teams are catching on.
The thing is, it was so genius. It was going to work as well. It was going to work, and then, the keeper just opened.
Monty's been eating way too many croissants.
Honestly, like, if he doesn't drop that hatch, or if he dropped that hatch at just a different spot, and the strat works, you guys are so lucky. But I guess I have to speak about Mats because he had a crazy game. I think he dropped 20 kills.
21.
Yeah, 21. That's a proper IGL, praising your teammates. And I checked how many operators he played. I think he played 10 different operators in that game. So I'm just wondering, because obviously Sneak is the entry. What is Matt's role in the team, and how do you enable him to get that many kills?
Mats is a flex, so he just sort of fills whatever we need. And a lot of that time, that's, the nice roles like a 2-bit DMR, which he just happens to shoot better on the day. So, good job from him.
Do you feel like he has, outside of just the fragging power, but his utility usage or his voice comes, how is he supporting you just outside of frags in his match?
He's very good at enabling team play. Like, he's very good at coordinating timings. He's very good at just getting the team on the same page. If I'm not doing it, or if we're in like multiple groups problem solving multiple things, he's good at coordinating that too. So he's very good to have in the comps.
Very good. Now I wanted to ask you here, because if I'm looking at this from the outside and kind of listening through as the game is going on, it seemed like tactically you were outplaying BDS in every way, shape, and form. Why do you think it had to go to overtime again for you to get the victory? What happened there?
I think it was a little bit of lack of composure. Like, it's something we've been working on. It's been sort of noticeable since play day 1. And like, it's been getting better, but it's something that's very hard to fix. And like, it's super different being composed in scrims to officials. So it's just a learning experience. We're working on it.
Makes sense. And how do you want to stay composed over next week? Because it is 3 play days back to back to back.
Yeah, it's going to be a long week, and it's a very important week for us. So we're just going to do our best preparing for it and see how it goes, really.
There you go. Evan, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's good to hear your opinions on things and on one very funny play at the end of it. I'll let you go rest up and get ready for next week's going to be a full one for Wild, and we're very excited to see you playing once again. Have a good night.
Also, shout out Vinny, our social media manager.
There you go. Shout out to Vinny, their social media manager. There you go.
Vinny.
What did Vinny do? We'll have to. I don't know if he's still here.
We'll have to see if he wins another game to tell us. I will say this.
First question next week.
First question
How
next
is
week.
Who is Vinny?
This is gonna be so important. That guys, let's refocus on the last
guys, it's him!
Sorry.
The last thing he said for me hits a lot. Next week is very important for us. I don't think people really realize. Within 3 play days, these guys can either stay at pro level and continue living off their dreams.
Yeah, that trajectory.
Or their career can be ended really short after a single year in Tier 1. And that is all played next week across 3 BO1s. Just let that sink in. These guys, they live their dream the entire year, and it could all end next week.
Keep in mind, they came from Challenger Series a year ago. This time, they were not part of anything in Tier 1.
Yeah.
And in Stage 1, there were many issues. Seemingly a lot of things fixed going into Stage 2. They're doing way better. Improvement time and time again. there's a lot that we can stand behind in this squad.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Wild are the team that are caught up in every single race that we've got going on. They're in contention for playoffs, they're in contention for finals, and most importantly, they're trying to get themselves out of the relegation spots because of their phase 1, stage 1 as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on. That next week is going to be huge for them. In terms of this game, I will agree. I thought they should have got it done in regulation. That 1 point could come back to hurt them. Particularly, it was round 11 that actually really hurt them. It was a winnable position, 3 versus 2. That they should have got done, and they didn't, unfortunately. However, Matt, he was an absolute monster today. You saw in that highlight package there, he was just absolutely everywhere. 10 different operators, as Evan said, calling as well. He's looking into a real player right now.
How many multi-kills on top of that?
He got 4 rounds where he had a triple kill.
Whoa.
So he really turned the tide.
Which, by the way, is so important when Sneak is dropping 3 and 11. Sneak has been really trying to get involved in the entry. He's trying to be the aggressor in a lot of fights. It didn't go his way today.
He did clutch once.
He did clutch once. But when that happens, somebody else needs to step up in the team. And that's what all the top teams have. You know, you think of a G2. If Doki's not having his day, Loira's there, for example. If Sneak wasn't having his day today, somebody else needed to step up, and Max did.
Gentlemen, it's time for us then to move on to our next matchup. Let's swap this out. Behind us, Fnatic take on Team Falcons. And one thing I do have to say, because Fnatic have not really played at big events in a long time, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I'm part of the problem.
Yeah.
You was the problem.
That's no comment. Team Falcons, on the other hand, you've seen them at the Invitational last year as BDS in the Grand Final. You've seen them in every single Grand Final in 2024. The hope is that they can make it to the Invitational. And by the way, SI 2026 happening in Paris. Tickets are on sale. Make sure to grab yours just in case you missed out on Munich. And here's a beautiful trailer just to get you going.
Au-delà des mers, là-bas sur le ciel clair, il existe une cité au séjour enchanté. Et sur les grands arbres noirs, chaque soir, vers elle s'en va tout mon espoir. J'ai 2 amours.
Ladies and gentlemen, our third matchup of the day here in EML Playday number 6 is about to begin. It's Falcons, it's Fnatic going up against one another. And let's just cut right to the chase with Team Falcons. At the top, flying high, G2 the only squad that sits squarely above them. They look for more points and more domination.
Yeah, Wise Man said they're sawing Milosh, and that they are. They're really having a good stage. Big resurgence from them, I think, particularly in terms of the team play. We've gone over it a lot of time. LeagueFact's so important to them with the IGLing. He's having a great stage as well. You know, bringing up these big kills, getting the team going. From listening to their comms, seems like there's so much more energy within the team as well, which is driving them.
And Shaco seems to definitely be back. And when I say Shaco's back, it means he's doing, what, like 3 times the numbers than anybody else.
He's typing. Scrolling on Twitter, his usual warm-up before game.
The warm-up routine.
That means they're going to win. Usually, this is how things kind of work out. But I really need to talk about this because if we're looking back to post-invitation, post-Boston, when Team Falcons, the organization, picked up the former BDS roster that you have here with you, there was a big chat all over social media, all over Separate, whatever, that it's all about the money, right? Oh, they bought up another big team. They just want to win stuff. And I think there seems to be more to it than just the moolah.
Yeah, from talking to the players, it's not so much a question of salary. It's mostly a question of what is the organization putting on the table for them to perform.
Yep.
And that, for me, is the biggest reason we went from a Falcons that was disappointing us at Reload, that disappointed everyone at EWC, to a Falcons right now that is looking stronger than maybe the rest of 2025 and maybe at the same level as 2024. So it all is about investment. If we look at the org chart right now, we see LeagueFact as the IGL of the 4 other players. Above him, Stuflex, the head coach, and all of the teams surrounding them. Eagle is a long-standing analyst. At the same time, Julio, they've taken a great strategy coach with massive experience about how to win grand finals. And then Frenchie, the team manager. We look above, and we see Falcons infrastructure with team facilities for bootcamps, with a nutritionist so that the guys are feeling great, with a physiologist, with a psychologist as well.
Yeah.
All of the things that you need to perform at the highest level here, Jack.
From speaking to them at the Reload event, which is the time I spoke to them about this, their class is a tier 1 team within the Falcons ecosystem, which means they get access to all of this, all of the resources, and in their mind, this is what they wanted in terms of to give themselves the best chance to succeed. We saw them as BDS get to finals and hit that hurdle. In their mind, this was to give themselves the best chance to go and win things, to really start something special.
You take the best players and you give them the best utility to perform. Well, let's take a look at how it enables to them. Because yes, they have infrastructure, but the real thing is, it means unlimited bootcamps whenever they need it. Is it for EML finals? Is it maybe for to prepare a big event? They will have them. Theory sessions is something they've now introduced. Now, before the screen blocks, they have 1 hour theory session where they just rehearse every single default setup so that LeagueFact doesn't have to recall them during matches.
And that's great because realistically, one of the things that, and one of the criticisms we've leveled at this team is they get through it on individual skill alone.
Yeah.
And I think they know that, and that's why they've introduced that.
With theory sessions, now every single player in the team understands the calls that LeagueFact is making. Obviously, on top of that, you can see gym activities, sports activities, maybe some kinds that bring a little bit of synergy with the team.
My man is a fucking...
He's got strong biceps now, and I see everyone invested in bringing that roster back to the highest of the levels of CG Sports. And it's still, all of that is in the perspective, I think, of Munich first, but especially SI Paris.
And just to contextualize this is all, like there are some teams that we've seen, you know, not in EU for fortunately, but in NA we've got teams that are still looking for organizations that are without salary and that type of stuff. So for Falcons, for this team, all of that resource is so important to their success.
Well, you know all about flying first class, Jack, but we got to take a look at Fnatic on the other end of that spectrum because I feel like this squad has turned, I guess, these kind of diamonds in the rough into realistic competitors here in EML. They're so high up in the standings and no one would have expected it in Stage 2.
What's impressive is that they clearly don't invest the same resources as Falcons within the game, but they do it smart.
True.
They just do
ROI. It's 5 players and Tristan, right? Yeah.
The reality is they do it smart. They pick up strong individuals, young ones with loads of potential. Tristan is very smart with the way he develops this team, with the vision that they have. And so far, they have, I guess, outweighed some of the expectation that was on this roster, especially after Stage 1.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure to see them play. And even yesterday, what was supposed to be a big test, Jack, against a real big teams in G2. We think that Fnatic strategically was controlling the game, but just was losing the gunfights because G2 has some of the best individuals.
And you're going to get that, especially, aren't you? When you place Trust in a roster that has essentially, I'm going to call them 3 rookies-ish, Sarks.
No.
Half a rookie, maybe. It was his rookie year last year. So, but you're investing in a lot of youth. You're going to see when they go up against the big boys, even if they control it, they're still going to fall down to some big individual moments. Fnatic yesterday should have been going through the half at a 5-1. They should have been going into their defense half with a load of confidence. Absolutely tons. It was a 3-3 because they let 2 big moments affect them. When that happens, they let that then snowball onto their defenses. They didn't play confident and aggressive like we've seen them play on their defenses, making the micro plays, using the information. And I think they just lost because it was G2 and it was kind of a big name and the occasion got to them. They have a chance to rate that against another big name today in Falcons.
We said it yesterday, this is the test week for Fnatic. Was it all flash in the pan, or do you actually have the shot to contest against the top 2? Even if you can't, there's still indefinite conversation around making it to playoffs and to Munich. By the way, grab your tickets if you haven't. There's only a few left for the Munich Major. However, I have a spot for our map. So let's chat about that. Leo, what do we got?
We're going all the way to control it. I find that interesting because every single time I see Falcons play on that map, it seems that in a BO1, they only leave it open if they can end up starting in defense. Once again,
sensible.
A sensible, very defender-sided map. Now I find that very interesting because Falcons love that map. They played it 4 times during stage 1. They beat every single team on it if it was not for G2.
Yep.
But also, they played Fnatic on that map. And they beat them 7-2. It's a direct rematch from the same game in stage 1.
Just an interesting one. Leaky Fact was calling out Fnatic and Tristan, saying they're going to play Clubhouse against us.
banned Clubhouse.
And Falcons banned Clubhouse right at the end. I wonder if we would have seen it if they'd have let it through. Anyway, I actually think it's smart from Fnatic. Then they did this yesterday against G2. They're playing maps that they've previously shown. And I think that's really, really smart because they don't want to show any new maps against future opposition that they've got, how do I say this, a more realistic chance of beating. The game against G2, the game against Falcons, for most teams, is just an absolute free hit. They've already shown Consulate from a Fnatic point of view against Wild. What did they struggle on there? Well, they faced the same top floor meeting CEO setup 4 times with the Denari. They attacked it admin side 4 times in a row, and I think they only won it once. So they really struggled to adapt when they attacked this map. So I'm looking to see from Fnatic that they have more adaptation to their game.
Could we maybe see for the first time a Denari ban? We'll see. But Consulate is one of those maps that is extremely well enabled with those crossfires.
We talked about it, and you very plainly spotted the G2 play that kind of everybody had copied within only a couple of days.
I'm booking some other Denari tips for the next
Hey, if you want Denari tips, Macy J posted a great video with how to counter shields on Denari. Just as I saw it on Twitter, it was great.
Thank you, Matt.
additional tips. Always on this desk.
This is good. We always have, whenever there's a new operator that gets added into the game every season, it just means that we have something new to look forward to, because it's not just about how you play the operator themselves, but then all the interactions that happen around them. And on top of it, because it's Rainbow Six, it's all about the SimCity also. And Denari plays really well into SimCity, which I'm borrowing a StarCraft term here, which is how you set up a site and the outside using the soft destruction to your advantage. It's a very good term, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think looking at the new operators that have been added recently, comparing Denari to Deimos maybe, or some of the more recent operators, I will say Denari has one of the biggest cookability of any operators in the game.
So much creativity.
Devastatingly good.
You can go into customs, find new stuff every day. We see staff spending a lot of time in the customs and trying to find new stuff, and everyone is copying each other. Honestly, super excited to see what this player, what this operator is going to look like in the next 6 months.
Yeah, feels like the skill ceiling on Denari is very, very high, not just as an individual, but as a team also. How you
very, very. It's what you want from an operator, right? It's such a high skill ceiling. It enables creativity. It shows everything that's good about Rainbow Six. At the same time, can still be very situational, and that's what you want. You don't want it to be overpowered.
It would be very sad if Denari were banned in this matchup here between Falcons and Fnatic, but regardless, our casters are standing by, and so are our teams. Let's get it started.
Thank you very much, Milos. Yes, a bit of a David versus Goliath game, it feels like, Tim. Fnatic starting not strong this stage. Not coming coming to a halt, but definitely slowing down while Falcons are going the other way, it feels like. I think we all know on paper which way it feels like this game will go, but maybe Fnatic have got something little extra in the tank for us.
Yeah, Fnatic have absolutely been a team full of surprises so far in stage 2. It's been a tough 12 months for them, maybe longer. It's difficult to find their feet, but they've seemed to have finally done it, and they are delivering some results. Find themselves sat nicely in the mid-table at the minute. They've beat some teams that you might not have thought they would. They've lost to some that you thought they might have beaten, but ultimately Fnatic are putting points on the board. Today is definitely going to be a true test of that growth that they have shown us, though. Keep an eye on Sarks and Wizard. Their stats particularly have been very, very good so far this stage, and they're going to need to be even better today, of course, coming up against Team Falcons, who we know are just absolutely lethal no matter where they play.
Indeed can be. Well, our bans have flown through pretty quickly. The Dockerby ban, Tim, I love seeing the Dockerby pick up by both of these teams, to be fair, Falcons especially, but here's banned away by them alongside the Monty, and the Clash, and the Valkyrie to come away by Fnatic against them. So, interesting bans coming out overall. Does leave a few of the stronger operators that I think we're used to seeing in the game overall, but with this map being what it is, a bit more pokey and tight, I think you can make some different variations here in what it is that you choose to ban away. Let's see what they can cook up on the defense here, if they can get a good few rounds away from Falcons to give themselves a bit of comfort going into the second half.
Let's get into it then. Round 1. Going to be up on the top floor. Falcons will start off on the defense. And let's have a look at that lineup. We've got the Echo brought along, so keep an eye on Leakafak. I just want to have a look at this before I say it, but I'm not sure that Leakafak has got the best survival stat when it comes to making it to the end of the round. Extremely good player, just tends to be involved in the... I was right, 36%. So where does that fall? 50% is kind of the top of the tier. It's a real middle ground. Of kind of sort of middle, fair to middle. Echo, of course, being one of those operators you want last alive. You maybe looking towards somebody like Usus or Breeder who've got those higher survival stats. But look, we will see. It may well be that Leakfat will just play a slightly different game. Won't be looking for those engagements that he normally gets into, and will make himself a nuisance with the Yokai drones instead.
I think that always frustrates me, Tim, to see people playing on an Echo. Oh! I mean, that's certainly a way to start things off. Almost getting caught out placing down the bulletproof there. I don't think it was necessarily intentional, but almost got away with it. I was going to say, the number of Echoes that go for spawn peaks or aggressive early rounds, I'm just like, why? Don't do it to yourself. You've got so much to live for. 2 Yokais you can throw around the map and cause absolute chaos in the late round. They become useless. Paperweights. If you find an Echo going down too early on. So, but at least, we're seeing a little bit more caution being shown at the start of this round. Fnatic for now is doing a lot of that setup work as required. We saw the vertical pressure coming around to soften up that floor and start getting themselves ready for what you'd assume would be a plant a little bit later on. We've still got things like that final Rotero to come on through as it is now. And the Force players back, and they still haven't got that soft destruction down onto that long desk. Quite critical to ensure players can't play behind there. So there is still work to do, but a lot of rounds still to play.
Sarks is doing some good work underneath on the book, just again making those positions difficult for the defenders to stay in. Jags is going to look to get aggressive with the blitz, clearing out the keeper barricade, just soaking up a lot of utility here actually. Impact Nade comes out as well and still making a nuisance of himself. We can see that there is at least still one Yokai left alive, and as we flick to the other view we see that there is a second, so not something that Fnatic have been able to deal with just yet. No IQ on side for them worth noting. Sarks, however, underneath does manage to pick up Usus. A good start for Fnatic, getting that entry. A minute left to go. They've got time here. They need to get Jegs inside a site to start causing a nuisance and putting a plant down.
Well, Deepek's in. Obviously, he's not the player you really want to be in this position right now, but he's able to support most critically. They've got that bulletproof still hanging around as well. Deepek trying to bait out the swing. These Yokais are causing such a headache for them at the same time. Solitaire up on the close angle as well, now working his way around the back, wondering if there's any cover, and just as he looks for it, bit of a trade coming through on towards Croxon, but he's down, so can't offer an awful lot. It's a 3 versus 3, and this plant is going down. Sarks, no! He misses the backstab, finally finally gets rid of Shaiko. Finishes off on towards Solotov as well. They may well get the complete at this point. You've got to get rid of that yokai, guys. It's been going all game long. They get a 1-for-1, and it's all down to Likafak here. Another yokai to go, surely. Realizes he can't get away with it in time. Goes to the spray, can't find his man. Deepek's out the window. Jegs up close and personal. Flash coming out, and he can just keep him at bay for a long time here, Tim. In fact, no. Gets away with the one, but has now got to be able to get the win on towards Deepek, who sure enough should be able to close this one out. Baits it, almost gets it, but Deepek finds the headshot and closes it out. Closer than it should have been, Tim, but smart play from Fnatic gets them round 1.
Yeah, there was a couple of moments there where you're thinking that 1v2 that maybe Likafak gets the job done. And Jegs, the first time he blinds him with the flash of the shield, you think, push him, get aggressive, push him. But Jegs instead let off the gas a little bit, settle back onto the plant to wait in, and ultimately was taken down by Likafak, but Deepek had it on lock from the window. But yep, Sark's a big play on that backstab, just preventing Shaiko from moving in and making things difficult for the planters. But yeah, one of those real ping-pong rounds. It kind of went, you know, back and forth over the net until somebody was able to find that final shot in the 3v3. A good attempt at the end, but again, you just think maybe stick it for a few extra on that when he was long-arming it a little bit. You know, maybe see what happens. See if Deepek makes a move, force him to do something. But, well, Falcons don't manage to get it over the line, so we're going to move on. They will go this time to, it looks like, Piano and Exhibition, and Fnatic will continue on the attack. Blitz is going to be brought along again. Wizard on the Deimos this time. They're going to want that top floor control so that Deimos can use that Vendetta from above along with the tracks, try and create a little bit of chaos inside a site.
I love the little cute play in that last round, by the way, that they actually left. But I think it's really by choice that they chose to leave the Fenrir Fnats up there. They were there. They couldn't get rid of them easily without exposing themselves. Fair play. They actually used it as bait. So as they saw the Yokai Blast come out onto the shield alongside the FNAT, they expected a swing coming out from a Falcons player. And I forget who it was, but it was a Fnatic player stationed at top yellow right here, like they're doing now, with a shotgun, who turned and took a blast. Didn't find anyone there because no one was there from Falcons. But it was a real cute little passage of play just to anticipate aggression from Falcons and try and find a response. And it kind of feels like they're trying to look for the same again here.
Wizard, interestingly, bringing along the shotgun on the Deimos, as we see him there, favouring those close angles, of course. But with the Vendetta as a secondary, it gives an option to create some verticals if they do get that top floor control. They're not completely reliant on things like Rotero drones or those hard breach chargers being able to do the work. They can just create those verticals themselves, but it does, of course, limit Wizard a little bit. They're not really moving too far too fast here, aren't Fnatic? They've finally managed to push the two top floor players back a little bit deeper out towards Vendin and Admin. Likafak and Usus now trying to kind of fight their way back in, but Wizard can start to go in and open up a few things. Does need to be careful of the positions in meeting, though.
Got to fill up control, and now it's about getting to the point of the round where you start tearing that floor up and get a little bit busy. Of course, Wizards want to get it done, as you say. DMRs also can get to work on a similar sort of thing. That's exactly what they're starting to move their way through, but they want to get rid of this hatch first and foremost, of course. Really keeping it locked up nice and tight with that Kaid. As of yet, unable to remove it away. They haven't got any micro EMP, so Tim, unless they can find a way to get rid of this from above, I think they're a little bit stuck here. That won't be able to get opened up. They'll have to work their way down yellow instead to make this one sing. Croxton ready and waiting, expecting a swing at some point. Nothing to come out yet. I tell you what, that is the most infuriating thing in the world when you feel you've been watching it this long in case something does happen, and it only happens as you step in. It's a bit of a stinger, but Sarks gets rid of Shaiko. Second round in a row, which he's done that. It's a 4v4.
Just keep an eye on Likafak. He's been in break room the entire round up on the top floor, and he's now starting to move forward. I don't think they're aware of his position. They thought that they'd chased him back down to the ground level, but it's whether there's any drones, whether there's any intel that's going to give his position away. He's just paused again. He's waiting for his opportunity for that retake, and it's going to be when Fnatic get busy and start putting that diffuser down, which is the next step of their plan. Likafak now in meeting. He's creeping his way across. He's looking for that vertical retake, but he's been taken down. Starks was aware of the danger. Super important. Plant goes down. 3 versus 2. Breeder trying to do something. He does stop the plant. It's now a 2v1, a 1v1. It's up to Wizard. Wizard versus Usus. Usus wins it out. How many times have we seen Usus win the big moments? He does it again. It's 1-1 on the scoreboard.
Wow. Comes down to a 1v1. A stinger. I say this like more and more lately. There'll be results that we look back at, that teams look back at and go, it was this score, but it really should have been that score. In fact, we heard it in one of our interviews earlier on today as well. A couple of rounds that could really swing things. There are moments like that and moments equally like round 1, Deepak in a 1 versus 1, Yusuf in a 1 versus 2. It has really come down to the wire in both rounds so far. And I'll say it now, I'm impressed by Fnatic. The way they've approached these rounds has been really good. They've problem solved well mid-round. They're taking the fight to Falcons, something special. Like Shaiko has been dominated by Sarts across both rounds so far. Really good stuff. Keeps it nice and close. And I really think we get this. I thought we'd get a bit of a Falcons shutout, especially on defense. It is coming down close though.
It really is. It was down to... as soon as Sarks gets the kill on Leakafak as he comes through meeting, I thought Fnatic had done it at that point. I thought they were able to close it down, but Breeder had a huge moment there. Getting in, I think there was only about half a second left on the plant. It was very, very close. And taking Jegs down was a big, big moment for Falcons there. Somebody had to do something, and Breeder stepped up and managed to get the job done for his team. So keeps them in it and gets them level. They could have easily been 2-0 down here, but that's what makes good teams great, when they're able to fight their way back into tough rounds. So this time, Fnatic are going to be attacking onto that bottom floor. Deepak will be on the Thermite. They've also got the breaching option of Crocs on the Hibana. That's more likely going to be focused at the hatch. I think Sarks has just taken a ton of damage from a Nitro, would be my guess, because Breeder doesn't have one in pocket, neither does Users. And Sarks is looking for worse for wear outside of the garage, so I think he's just got caught out with the old textbook Nitro over the wall, but did manage to survive.
Absolutely. Wall opened up. Job done. That's what they were looking for. In a while, and it's very rare these days that we see a Mute Mozzie being ran as a pairing, but of course it's what we've got coming along here. Initially focused off along with the Kite to try and keep that wall jammed up and locked tight for as long as they possibly could, but as we've seen, that's now been opened up. Now it's about trying to impede Fnatic, catch them out when they haven't got full information on what's going on. Already seen the one working his way down and towards server here as well. Drone still stays standing. But Vision here, Tim, and hoping to catch him out nice and early. Not yet finding him. That pressure starting to build as Sarks actually hits the deck here as well. A little bit of a wiggle room given over. Jegs taking some damage from a C4, but stays standing. But it's struggling even to get through point 1 here. I feel, oh! Saw the feet just half a second too late. Could have been a bit of a freebie there, but they've got this awkward crossfire to deal with, Tim. Don't look easy to break through.
Yeah, there's no real way in there. I'd possibly be thinking, if I'm Fnatic, about rotating this and backing out, but they're going to continue to try and fight it, and you know, maybe they'll come away with the kills and it'll all work out, but I think it's going to be very difficult for them for this position. They need a little bit more support. Maybe somebody coming down those Visa stairs would help. Deepak manages to pick up Solitov. That's a good start at least. Thermite's going to open the hatch. This is what they needed. I said they needed some additional help. It is Kaiden, but it is going to get opened up, and there's the kill from Deepak. He's really helped his team out at the backside there. Super low health across 3 of them, but it does allow them to start this push from the rear side.
It's again really good problem solving coming out in the round itself. Sark's trying to find Leakafak, who's having no more of this nonsense. Brings it down to a 3 versus 4, and as you remarked, there are a few members on really low HP here. Makes me a little bit nervous. Jake's going to try and challenge directly towards Leakafak here, I think, if he can get past. And sure enough, looking to isolate his man. Flash comes out, and Tim, again, great team play. 3 players gathering in on Leakafak and punishing him. Haven't got loads of time left here. Jake's a couple of shots to the feet, still standing. They've only got a few bullets between them worth of HP, but they can get this done. They're in a 3 versus 2.
The big problem is that the Shaco is up above in exposition. It does leave Users on his own in sight, but if he can keep himself alive, Shaco is in a brilliant spot for possible plant denial. Instead, he takes a drop. He gets a kill as well as Users, and Falcons hold on once again. It looked good again for Fnatic in the middle of the round when Deepak opens the hatch. He gets the kill. It makes it a double. It creates the space for Jegs to walk through. It looked like Falcons had maybe just done enough damage, though, with all the additional HP that had been lost on the side of Fnatic. They weren't able to keep themselves as maybe aggressive or active in the fights as they might have liked, but you picked up on it, Des, and I totally agree with you. The teamwork from them was beautiful. The way that Deepak dealt with things to help clear space, the push onto Banana from both sides to guarantee the kill onto Leakafak. Some really good signs for Fnatic, but ultimately you're coming up against a top team, and a top team that will find a way.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it's another round that has come down to a bit of a clutch. Like, Shoko was on his backside then. It's you just getting 2 kills in the close. All the good stuff that you want to see from him. Again, keeping it dangerously close. And I feel I always feel bad for Fnatic because looking at yesterday, you know, they weren't up to the races. Their defenses were pretty poor overall. Today, they've come in and they look up for this. They look ready to win. But you're up against the Falcon side, who, as I've said, has warmed up as the stage has gone by a little bit. Since that win over G2, they have looked like different gravy. Admittedly, beating BP 7-2. Our rank stat could do that, it feels, at the minute, Tim. And I ain't even in a rank stat, but we're going to form one. And I feel that with how low the motivation is in the VP camp, like most people probably have a good time against them. Definitely not at our level, Tim, that's for sure. But Fnatic, at least, I think, are showing that they can still tango with the best, as good as Falcons have looked lately. So, first quarter down and done, 2-1, the scoreline that maybe you'd have come to expect. Not looking bad for Fnatic, but now you've got to push on and get a couple more rounds in this half.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, it's one of them, isn't it? You can have all the positives you want. You can have all the great passages of play. But if it's not converting to numbers at the top of your screen, it ain't going to matter in the long run. So, yeah, they've got to find a way to get that final sort of 20% done and over the line alongside all that great play that they've been showing us. Falcons, they just kind of keep doing what they're doing. I'm sure they won't want these rounds to be quite so close. So they're going to be looking to maybe switch things up a little bit, whether that be, you know, up the aggression, maybe try and get in the face of Fnatic a little bit more, although you feel like they've kind of been doing that already, and Fnatic have been able to punish it, so we'll see what Falcons bring to the table. Looking for the challenge there onto Printer Window, not going to get an opportunity just yet, and for the time being, it's all very tentative for the first minute.
Yeah, nothing else. Just seeing how far you can push things out, right? How aggressive can you be on the roam? And right now for Leakyfac, it's pushed right out towards admin wall. Keeping himself busy, ready to trick things out. Very often you'll see teams get inside of admin and want to open up this wall just to ensure that players aren't still hanging around looking to be a nuisance, because otherwise you've got to push into these really uncomfortable bottlenecks. You've got to work your way up Visa stairs. Not a fun time when there's barbed wires and players that can swing you at the drop of a hat. Or other times you have to go in through Printer. Again, trying to repel inside there. It's not a happy fun time. The C4 can come over the top. There's lots of things that can be really frustrating to deal with. So they need to make sure this has been cleared out. I think for now, at least, most of the Falcons players have moved back. But again, you've just got to be so mindful, I think, of Leakyfac and how willing he is to be a bit of a nuisance. Has now moved his way down yellow. So they have bailed on towards that extension. But now you've got to deal with the next hurdle, which is this central hallway.
Have the Rotero coming in, clearing out some utility. We did see a drone loss behind long desk. 1 minute left to go. Fnatic need to get moving. We can see that the track has come in, but it has ended just as quickly as it did. Just run through one of those mute jammers, and it will remove the information that Deimos is being fed. Leakyfac on that, working around underneath, manages to pick up Jegs. That's the opener. Another one comes in from Shaiko, picking up Wizard. Looking like a tough round once again for Fnatic. A lot of activity in the first 2 minutes, but not really much has gained from it. They didn't get any map control, didn't get any kills, and it's starting to prove to be a problem now. They're going to have to brute force their way towards long desk, able to do it as Stark Sounds one, Croxton another. That's Leakyfac and Solotov taken down. 3 versus 3 as the pressure is now mounting from admin and long desk. And Shaiko, he steps up to it and cuts down Starks.
Yes, Shaiko won't lose it to Sarks again. He's been battered by him all game long. In this round, it's simply not happening. Up on the high desk goes Croxton, and he just ain't quick enough. I think you were saying earlier on, Tim, you came up against Shaiko and ranked, and he gave you a little bit of a what for, didn't he? So I'm hearing the whole lobby, in fact, I think experiences wrath, just like Fnatic are now.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a tough one, Des. Yeah, it was one of Falcons. I'm pretty sure it was Shaiko. 15 kills inside in 5 rounds. We did get 1 round, to be fair. But yeah, he had 15 kills in. Frenchie was in there as well. It was a tough game, Des. Let me put it this way. You know when you played a game against them.
Well, as we said, they've come close, but not quite close enough. They're down 3-1. For Fnatic, they know that this game is going to get made on the attacking side. They need at least 2 rounds, if not 3, from the half. So attack timeout comes in now. Tristan offering some words of wisdom to get them back on course. Though, with how things have gone so far, with now seeing Falcons building into a bit of confidence, show the users 1v2, the 3k that he got on the downstairs with Shaiko, a dominating round just now where Shaiko himself got a 3k. I speak often about these hero plays where players put up big numbers and you don't often see lightning striking twice like that. Well, we've had 3 3Ks now from Falcons in a row, and they are looking dominant, not giving anything over to Fnatic.
Yeah, some changes. It's kind of unfortunate, isn't it, for Fnatic? You look at it and you think, you know, they may be good for more than one round that they've got so far. There's been some good passages of play. There's been some moments that you could look at and say they've actually worked that. They've done that really, really well. But, you know, ultimately, like I said, history doesn't remember that stuff. It just remembers the score at the end, at the top of your screen. And right now, Falcons 3-1 up and looking pretty comfortable. They are going to go back to piano and exposition. It's going to be by the looks of it. And we're going to have our final bands coming in. The blitz has been taken away. So I think, you know, a little bit of respect being shown towards Fnatic there. And Falcons just saying, yeah, you've actually had our lives pretty miserable. Jegs has done a great job on the blitz and made things very difficult for them. Doesn't have any kills to his name, but has really removed some power positions, has pushed Falcons around, forced them into bad spots. So deciding that they're going to have no more of that.
Absolutely. That's been a slight impediment to Kaid. I think it's been frustrating at the best of times, so that being gone too makes sense. Let's see how things go for the next couple. And we step on forwards. Solus coming out again. League one of the only players, when I think about it, around the world these days that makes quite a lot of use of this operation. When I say a lot, it's not like it's every other round that he's playing it, but I've seen him play it more than others. If I thought about a Solus player in the current game of the regions that I watch around the world, he definitely comes to mind as that guy.
Straight away, getting those windows open just makes movement around the map a little bit more difficult for the defenders. Need to be cautious if they're looking to rotate around the outside of sight. Don't know who's going to be watching in from those windows. We're going to have meeting wall opened up as well. There's mute jammer on there, so not going to be able to open up lower than that for the time being, unless they get one of those nades up there from Wizard just to clear away the mute jammer. And it's just again going to provide a little bit of safety for those players inside of meeting and top floor, which is currently leaving back Greedy and Solotov all trying to hold on. But how about this early aggression from Fnatic, once again looking to move with purpose and get themselves inside a lounge quickly from Tellers.
Maybe so. I mean, if they're just going directly in towards site here, of course, you've got to be so respectful of the verticals. It's a massive risk to ignore it. They have bypassed the admin players for the most part, though, and know there's still a couple upstairs they've got to worry about dealing with. Well, the verticals now being opened up as well by Falcons as they realise, all right, there's a lot going on downstairs here, guys. We need these angles now. You don't want to open it up for the other side, but you still want to have them when you come around to needing to actually make use of them. Shyco removing Jegs, 0-5 in the game. Not been a great start for him. Leak of Fat dangerously low, but it's still a man advantage to Falcons.
Yeah, it's been tough for him. Like I said, I think he's done good work on the blitz, but it's just not really helped him stats-wise to get himself on the board. It's been more of a sort of team contribution for him, but certainly not paying off now. We hear those Savannah pellets just being shot off as well. Shyco going to take quite a bit of damage on his Malusi there, but Leak of Fact manages to just swing across and protect his teammate Solotov onto Croxton as well. 5 versus 2, the vertical hold from Falcons doing a great job at the minute. There is nothing going on up there to move them. We spoke about this with Fnatic. They were so keen on going direct to site. They wanted to just ignore that top floor to leave them out in the cold, but they've paid the price. Deepek manages to find Solotov. That's likely all. Gets himself a second though onto Leak of Fact, but still 3 operators ahead of him. Shackle low health, but the other 2 full complement of hit points.
Full compliment as well from Solotov as well for a nice little shot there as well in a good spot, but 2 kills does not maketh the round. I'm afraid it will be Fnatic going down 4-1. Falcons, well, they've been tested. Yeah, in a way, it kind of makes me feel like about Wild in a sense, whereas we say, you know, a lot of the round looks good. Like a lot of what we see, like the ideas that are coming out, the strategies, the approach, it all looks good. And then you get met with that cold, harsh front that is reality, which is you're coming up against some of the best gunners in the world and they're a nightmare to stop. That's what we're kind of seeing coming out of Falcons here, just a brick wall that Fnatic cannot punch through.
Yeah, it just goes to show, you know, against the top teams in the world, you can do everything right, and sometimes it's just out of your hands anyway. But look, Fnatic, there's a lot for them to take away from this, I'm sure. I think that last round, unfortunately, it's probably the worst that we've seen yet from Fnatic. I think everything else, they've kind of, you know, they've got the strategy right. It's come down to a close finish at the end of the round generally, and the rounds have been very winnable that they've lost so far. That one, I think ignoring top floor was just, it was a misstep. You know, just going on into lounge, they were cut down multiple times in there from those angles above, from those verticals. I think they'd maybe seen that there was no verticals opened up and they thought, this is an opportunity we can get in here. But straight away, the shotgun comes out, just starts blasting the floor up, and they've got everything they need. And, you know, if that's how Falcons have played it purposefully, then the baits work perfectly. You know, if not, then it's maybe just a bit of an oversight from Fnatic that they needed to go in and clear those top 4 players.
Sure. At times when it does work out, when teams like ignore and just rush sites, it's a beautiful thing to watch, and it is always a bit of like a high risk, high reward play. Like, we know why teams set up vertically, and it is to be able to deny from above, and it does sort of draw you in as attackers to have to go and clear it out. But like I said, a few times where it does work as a rushing towards site or this aggression that the attackers then a bit like, crap, we haven't got the control that we need, like we've got no safe way back down the stairs now, they've got control of large parts of the map. It can feel really oppressive and make things a little bit awkward for the defenders to have to deal with. So yeah, I don't blame them for trying something a little bit different. It has ultimately resulted them, as we can see, in losing the round, unfortunately. Now, more of the same, it seems. There's a bit of a dance going on here from Leakyback on that Solus once again, giving himself busy around the map and also denying the hatch at the same time. No one on that north-facing window. Stopping from being able to get away with that one, but I think the hatch has been opened up here. Solotov's got rid of Wizard. Him and Jegs really not having a great game here between them both. 1 and 11 as things stand. Jegs working his way forwards here. Sark's also being gunned down, and sadly, Tim, feels like Fnatic's best fight came in those first 3 rounds, because since then, it has been all domination by the French side.
Jegs does manage to get himself one, but it's no more than a consolation. I don't think 3 versus 2. Croxon and Deepak now still alive, have some top floor control. Falcons have been happy to dip away at this point. The damage is done. They've wasted half of the round. They've got 3 kills out of 5. They can now just play back towards side. It is down in the basement, so they just hold their angles and wait to see what comes, because Fnatic have got a lot of work to do in the next minute and 20.
They do, and although it feels doable, like it's definitely a winnable situation, because of how we've seen Falcons play. Again, that brick wall's going to go up here and make it very, very hard to punch through. You see all 3 of them have drawn back in towards site. They've got the C4 and a couple of impacts to play behind as well. It's just the 2 hard breach players left alive here for Fnatic. Deepak's had a good game so far. Croxon a little less so. But you are asking a lot for them to be able to chew through what has been the clutch master and uses so far. And Shaiko, who, as we all know, can be a demon at the best of times.
Get this rear wall open by the looks of things. The Hibana is there in position. 40 seconds left to go.
Going live.
Deepak, you're going to have to take the drop somewhere at some point. You're going to have to get down there to help your teammate, because right now Falcons have just got themselves dug in. Shaiko is just playing off pillar there, and he's just waiting for that swing. He's just waiting for that moment, that sound, and they've decided to go with the exothermic instead on this wall. 20 seconds left to go. It's going to be a case of going straight on in aggressively in reality, because time is certainly not on their side. They see this army, they can do nothing about it. Croxon taken down by users. The keeper barricade comes out to keep Deepak out. The smoke canister is not his friend at the minute as he tries to push in towards pillar. He's going to face a challenge from security, a challenge from pillar, and ultimately it's Shaiko who comes away with the kill, and that is 5-1 for Falcons. They're cruising.
They are, absolutely. And again, you're not getting through that brick wall when they put it up at the end, especially not between the 2 players that are mentioned in Yuzus and Shaiko. But back in the day, we talk about Bride being the clutch master, but now you've got Yuzus playing in that backline, that more kind of flex supportive role. Good luck. You get through 1, you've still got another, potentially a 3rd to work your way through. And again, I have some sympathy for Fnatic earlier. Coming in, no one expected them to win this game. That's very, very simple. David versus Goliath, I said that at the very, very start. Those first 3 rounds, they played really well. It just so happened that Yuzus got a 4K and a 3K across the 2 of them, and a 1v2 to stop you being able to get things closed out. Otherwise, it could have been that 3-3 half. But take nothing away from Falcons. That second quarter, they were by far and away the superior team, only losing 6 players across those 3 rounds. Now they go on the attacking side. We'll see just how long Fnatic can hold on for, because don't forget, their defenses yesterday, Tim, they really did not look in.
4-2 on the entry in favour of Falcons as well. Fnatic struggling in the early rounds. Maybe that's something that they can change their fortune on. I mention it because, of course, we do see so often that those rounds are converted. 5 of the 6 rounds were in favour of the team with the opening kills, so Fnatic could do themselves some real favours here by getting in and maybe getting aggressive, having a little look out of those windows, taking the fight to Falcons a little bit. You know, what have they got to lose at this point? They're 5-1 down. They've got to make a move. Otherwise, it's just going to continue in the trend that we've seen over the last 5 rounds. Falcons getting them on the bounce.
5 seconds to
And
insertion.
I think long forgetting that first round that they did lose. So the interesting one here is Sarks on the Clash. Keep an eye on where that shield is played.
Too bad you couldn't finish the job.
There's quite a bit of Clash today, actually, we think about it, Tim. Bitterly to a mixed effect. I love that one on Bank when I ran Beepers. It was used more as bait than anything else as well. Very punishing by the Monty with that hot drop coming through from the Logi hatch to put a little bit of hurt on the down. Sorry, stock hatch to cause a little bit of bother around that Beeper spot itself. Really running around on the shield here in this round.
Knock.
The Shaiko running around on old trusty Deimos. Full of me shocked.
See, the Shaiko could do with targeting Sarks, possibly. It depends what flooring he's stood on. He's currently in the meeting hallway, so there's no vertical options. But if they can force him maybe back into meeting itself or somewhere a little bit deeper, it might offer some opportunity for the Deimos to play from underneath. Nobody from Falcons inside of the building yet. We are a minute into the round. Shaiko is the first one to move himself in there. Going to be onto yellow stairs, just flicking through the drones, just checking underneath. This suggests that they might be thinking about a plan to round window. They're going on to connector window as well. They were checking piano underneath. They want to know what's going on with the verticals. They're just trying to create a little bit of space over that side of the map. It might not be a case of in through piano, in through the window, but Shield will come and join Shaiko at some point. I think he gets aggressive. He's gonna kill Sarks. That's the Clash on a team kill, and another 2 downed. Oh dear, Fnatic.
Oh dear, indeed. That's just calamitous. You can't have that happening. I mean, the fact that a man's even managed to walk up yellow, snake his way through the little box room, then in towards site, and then back onto 3 of you, all stood there looking a little bit lost inside a front desk. I just don't know. Definitely not quite looking at the races on the defense, at least in that first round. Same as they did in those last 3 attacks, unfortunately. Started out strong, but have definitely faded away in Falcons. That's their 6th round in a row, Tim. Not even dropping a beat from the defense over to the attack. Oh, they don't even get the player themselves as well.
I think it's just one of those moments where you just know that the Siege gods maybe aren't with you today. Shaiko kind of wanders in, 3 of them go for him at once, and 1 ends up down, 1 ends up dead, and then a second later the other one's down and Shaiko's still alive. It's one. You can't even blame anybody on Fnatic there. Look, these things happen. It was a good move from Shaiko, creating a little bit of chaos, getting in the back line. There was just a little bit of panic from Fnatic, and ultimately it was punished. So 6-1 now for Falcons. Can they close it out and get a 7-1 quick victory?
It definitely would be a speed run. And again, for me, it's a little bit heartbreaking for Fnatic as a team that I do really want to see succeed. And I say this because Fnatic as an organization is one that ever since I first got into esports, a whole generation ago now, it feels like a long time ago, they're an org that I've always held very, very fondly. They've got a good presence in the UK or London HQ. I always want to see such a prestigious name doing well. And it kind of felt at this stage things were starting to come to bear, and we were seeing them put up the sort of results we expect. And then again, the cracks have started to show over the last couple of weeks, unfortunately, is now how things are starting to set up. And they have come close, but if the scoreline sits at 7-1, it won't really reflect how effective they were, I think, in the early game. Just a reminder again that, as they were saying on the desk before the game, you come up against a team like G2 or against Falcons, you kind of see that game as like a free hit, a free punch to you as well. So you kind of know going into it, you're going to get battered a little bit, and it's a hard one, which is why they were saying Falcons came to this map. They've already shown it before. Why show other maps that you want to save for things like playoffs or even the major?
Opening kill for Croxon onto Leakifat. Good start. It was something I picked up on for Fnatic. An area they could really help themselves with. Shaco's going to take a bit of damage there as well. And surely this is going to be over for... No! I was going to say over for Useless. It was Sarks who actually managed to hit the Nitro onto the shield to protect the Fenrir. Great teamwork from Fnatic shown once again. Right. Crocs makes it a triple in the round, hitting Shaco with his pistol. And Fnatic look like they're going to be living to fight at least one more day.
Well, I come back to what we were speaking about in the first half, Tim. You know, rounds 2, 3, 4, we had a Users 4K, a Users 3K, a Shaiko 3K. We needed our heroes to save a couple of those rounds that looked like they would otherwise be lost. And Croxon done exactly the same in this round for them, right? Netting a big 3K there, leaving Brede in this 1 versus 4. The round is largely done, and we've still got 60 seconds in which to play. You know, Brede on his day as a second be a big clutch player, but do I anticipate him being that guy here and now? Sorry, Brede, but no.
No, you wouldn't expect it. We've seen it from him before, but, you know, those are the exceptions, not the rules. And Fnatic playing this smart. They've got themselves back to site. They know that they don't really need to do much with this. They're just going to allow the bot to do the work for them, and ultimately Brede will have to take a risk. There it is. And Deepak takes him down. Beautiful stuff from Fnatic. A great round from them. Well, the Fen really, it looked like it was over for him, but the call came in. The Nitro was deployed. The Blitz taken out. And that was a real turning point in the round, I thought. Fnatic able to then use that momentum to build into the rest of the round. Couple of kills quickly followed, and they were able to close it out and get themselves a second on the board at least. Still, 4 rounds in a row are needed to get them to overtime.
It is a lot to ask. It's a very tall mountain to climb. We've seen it happen before, but in a David versus Goliath situation, I don't know if I can see it happening to him this time around. I do think Falcons will just find that one little flurry, that one moment like we saw in the first round of the half, where someone works their way through the defense, bypasses everything, and team kills fly, 2 players get downed, and you just completely clean up around here. It's going to have to require some of the best defensive siege I think we've ever seen out of Fnatic to even be with a chance of getting that close.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think, look, you know, if we get to round 11, we'll start getting really excited. You know, but for now, reality calls, and that is that Falcons likely find, as you say, a way over the line. Just have a look at users as well. Going fantastically well. 10 and 2 so far in this matchup. Shaiko 9 and 4 as well. A couple of big performances from them. But they need one of these players. They need somebody to step up Falcons on the attack and get it over the line. Have another one of those big rounds. A lot of those numbers, of course, coming on their defensive side. We move on. It's going to be that mid-floor. This is the real sort of acid test for Fnatic here in terms of this matchup and how likely they are to go on and come back into this, because they're now on the 3rd choice site. They're on that piano site. Nitro goes out. No good. Shaiko manages to use some fancy footwork and get out of the way. But yeah, for Fnatic, this is their 3rd choice site. This is the one that's going to be more difficult for them to hold on to. If they can do this, 6-3, you can see a world where they then take top floor, bottom floor, and it's 6-5. It's game on, but this is the key round.
Well, being heavily on the pulse, I think, would be a great shot here alongside the Solars. That's a lot of information they're going to be able to collect, but it then means playing off the back of the C4s. They've used one of the 3. They've tried to get a little bit cheeky early on. Jegs, yeah, Shaiko's felt this before. He's ran the gauntlet many a times, but trying to spawn peek him and shut him down. And look at this, 2 players early on the side of Fnatic, taking a bit of sting, although a C4 comes out. Leakerfat's gone. Ace offline, still got their balance, not the end of the world at all. But I love the aggression and the confidence being shown, but I think Shaiko, he learned his lesson early games him from being domed by Sarks 1 time too many, and has had his number ever since.
Shaiko seems to be doing a very good job of avoiding Nitros. Another one comes out and will not do a lick of damage. And we'll look at the side of Fnatic. 2 players seriously low health. Is not looking good for them, in all honesty, because now the tracks come out. They're going to be chasing down the pulse. And look at this aggression, just wanting to get straight up there to make the challenge. Great is Jegs, who finds the next, taking down Brede. Nade comes in, kill comes in with it. Users picking up the kill onto Deepak. That's one of those low health operators. Finished off, Croxon being the other one. But it's now 3 versus 3.
Yeah, no C4s left him, but a lot of intel collection, right? We've got the Pulse still, we've got the Solars to play behind, Jammers they can sit inside of. That's going on towards the Mute, who will get sniffed out here, but of course should be near his own Jammer, you'd hope. This will be a nice close one. I was going to say, surely enough, Shaiko should know about this, but no! Wizard playing inside of a Mute Jammer gets away with it too. They had no idea he was there. Shuts down the Deimos, frees his teammate from Deimos' leering eyes, and now has got to get himself into a spot where he can assist the rest of his team. But Croxon, activated here on the defense, finds another. This will be another comfortable round coming out if they can get the close here. Croxon finally falling down. Solotop with 2 more still to find and 30 seconds in which to do it. It's not looking the prettiest. And can Fnatic hold on? I think they can. That'll bring us to 6-3, Tim. 1 round closer to that round 11 excitement we were speaking about.
Yeah, they both dropped down to site. Worth noting, Solotov doesn't have diffuser in hand. He's going to have to go and collect it. Does exactly that. Might take the opportunity to put this down here. 9 seconds left to go, but retaking the vertical is going to be Fnatic. He will stick the plant. Gets the opportunity to come guns up. If he wins this, it's a big mistake from Fnatic. Solotov is low health, but you wouldn't count him out when all he has to do is win a couple of gunfights. The challenge comes from above. He gets himself out of danger for the time being, Des.
Now he's a bit trapped in, but they know where he is. The problem I was going to say, they knew where he was because Solar's getting on the scanner, sees where the diffuser is, knows that he can't have moved far because he has no idea where the last 2 players are, and sure enough, they get the punish off the back of it. Are Fnatic waking up on the defensive side here, Tim? If they can get a 5-1 half, that'll be unbelievable.
So like I said, you know, that was a key round for me. If we look at a Fnatic side at the end of this game that got themselves back into overtime from being 6-1 down, round 9 is one that you'll look at and say, that was the third choice side. They were able to get it done, and now they can go back through top floor, bottom floor. Yes, they lost top floor, but that was round 7. That was the end of Falcons' 6 rounds in a row. They were carrying so much momentum. Fnatic had been beaten up by that point. Now they've got 2 rounds to their name, and maybe they come back with a different confidence. Maybe they hit those shots that they didn't last time. 6-5 starts looking really, really plausible, and we could find ourselves fighting over that side again to see whether we go to overtime.
Well, doing Falcons, they're slamming the brakes on now, Tim, and I don't blame them because that has been a couple of rounds that have been pretty convincing. You know, 3v1s in the close coming out for the side of Fnatic. They've looked like they've largely had a steer on the game across those first few rounds. Of course, the first one, absolutely calamitous. I mean, Fresh, for example, a minute ago just sent me a screenshot of the kills breakdown for the round where there were 2 team kills. There was down players galore. Everyone died in the space of like 5 seconds. It was just absolute mania in round 7, but since then Fnatic have looked pretty good, but they need a way to get this over the line here and now. And I don't want to kind of hark back to the problems of old, but I look at Falcons and how they struggled to close games out. You know, grand final days, when we think about it, the number of times where they just seem to lose themselves a little bit. I don't think you're going to see that entirely in a best of 1, but we've seen them lose games that they shouldn't have been losing at points. No wonder if this is one of those that could find themselves, they could find just slipping away from them if they're not too careful.
Okay, then let's get back on into it. It's going to be back up to the top floor for Fnatic. I'm excited to see this one. Like I say, last time around it was at the back end of that huge amount of momentum that Falcons had, but this time maybe slightly different.
10 seconds left.
Got the Tachanka on side. Got the Alibi on side. Vigil. I mean, it's a very different lineup, is what I will say. I like the Pulse to play underneath. I'll give him that. All the way down in basement is the Pulse.
I tell you what, Tim, I would go as far to say, and I would put 50 quid on this, that we have never seen this specific lineup of operators ever.
That's shuffling a deck of cards.
Almost guarantee we haven't.
What's the stat? That every time you've ever shuffled a deck of cards in your life, it's been in a unique order when it finished. Never before or again will that same order of cards have existed. There's people in the chat going, no way! Because I did that when I first heard that stat.
It's a very interesting stat. It's definitely got me thinking now. I'm like,
It's because because there's so many combinations that it's a generally believed stat that no matter how you shuffle a deck of cards, it will never have been like that before and will never be shuffled like that again.
Well, who's going to sit there and really check the exact order of their entire deck? It's not going to happen. Well, Tim, there's an execute coming on here already by the looks of it, trying to burst their way through. A Falcon, smokes are going down, Uzi slowly bleeding out here. They've tried to make it work, Tim, but they've been held at bay. 3 versus 5 now to try and recover. Jegs just doming Shaiko. Wizard another. Forget about your tap timeout, boys. Fnatic are fighting their way back in. It's now a 1 versus 5. It's far more dominant than even the last 2 rounds. And are Falcons starting to run out of ideas, Tim? Very possibly. Fnatic could do this.
Kind of as expected. I said coming into that, they're going to be carrying a lot more confidence, a lot more momentum. If you remember, I mentioned entry kills a couple of times as well. Interestingly, on the defense, I wanted to see an improvement from Fnatic on the entry. They've got every single one of them so far. They only lost round 7. After that, they are doubling down. They are winning the rounds. They are closing them out. Much, much better from Fnatic over the last couple of rounds. And look, it might have been a little bit of a weird and wonderful lineup. We don't often see a top floor with a Tachanka and an Alibi in the lineup, and a Vigil as well. You know, it was unusual, but sometimes unusual gets results, because how do you play against it? How do you plan for it? That's not been seen before by Falcons. They can't come in here with a game plan of what they're going to do against it, and Fnatic took full advantage of that. Great stuff from them. Love to see it. Love to see something different, something new, rather than the same old, same old. Great stuff. They deserve the round. One more, and this could be anybody's.
Even at this point, Tim, now we've seen them win all 3 sites in their rotation, and that's what makes me a little bit nervous for Falcons. It's not like we're waiting to come back round to a main site so they can just get a win out on it. Fnatic have looked good in every single one, and it makes me a little bit nervous for Falcons, but let's see if they can make it work this time around. They're going to write off last round and say, cool, look, we tried a bit of a rush. We got bitten in the backside. We're going to try the Glads again. We've got Yuzu stepping across onto it. Worth noting, by the way, he got 7 of his 11 kills in just those first 3 rounds. It was round 2 where he got 4 kills. Third round where he got 3. Since then has been pretty quiet, but the same can be said about pretty much all the Falcons. It has been a very quiet half for them overall.
Mid-breach is going to be open immediately, so good progress from Falcons. Look, maybe the answer for Falcons is don't overcomplicate things. Don't, you know, mess about and play into Fnatic's games. Just get in there, get a diffuser down, and work from there. But the problem that they're going to have is the upper floor presence. You got Wizard in Visa, you got Jegs in admin, so they are over the far side of the map at the minute, but they're only a few seconds away from being in places like Piano, which, if we get Wizard in there on the Solis, he's going to be all the plant denial you need, because he's just going to spray through as soon as you start to put that down. So they need to be aware of this. He's actually dropped himself back down to servers now. He's going to be playing underneath and providing a bit of intel for Jegs. It's as easy as that. We've spoken about Fnatic's teamwork, and there it is in action. Beautiful stuff.
They are in their heads, Tim. So in their heads. And I'll come back to the sort of things you said before about teams is, if they're a little bit slow, not quite too fast to get moving and around, defenders get the chance to capitalize and go a little bit chaotic. That's what you're seeing coming out of Fnatic now. The potential plant was coming through into that smoke, I think, or at least that's what Fnatic expected. Nothing quite to follow. It was more of a bait. Try and draw out C4s, or the only C4 that Fnatic have got. For now, they hold. These keeper barriers proving a real headache too, because it means Falcons can't see most of these players.
And it's becoming, rather than keeping it simple, it's becoming Falcons just kind of stuck banging their head against the wall at the minute. They lose another player there. Now Solotov, Shaiko, both taken off the board. They can't do anything about this pillar position. Croxton's just there, Nitro in hand, ready to launch it if anybody goes in through that breach, if the call comes that there's a plant going down. Brida is going to look to just put a bit more of that smoke utility down. Maybe they can get something going with the glass. Users needs to find some shots, but they just keep teasing him at the minute. They're just teasing him, Des.
And that's the minute. They've got 1 smoke left to use after this as well. Fnatic are being so patient. Leakefak, I was going to say, is above here, can give a little bit of cover. They get rid of Wizard, and now they make their move. Plant is going down, but look who's gone deep. It's used up nice and close. C4's up, and it's over and finds the man. 2 kills come through yet again. A 3v1 for Fnatic, Tim. I think it's time to get excited. They've just won round 11.
Yeah, not only round 11, but 4 in a row now. What a response. They're going to have to make it 5, though. And as I suggested it might, it's going to come down to that final battleground. It's likely to be Piano and Exposition again. 3rd choice site. They won it back in round 9. Can they win it again? It came down to a lot of fighting over top floor. Ultimately, they were able to retake it. Wizard on the Solis. Put down the last man after he got that plant down. Honestly, it was a beautiful kill, that. When you see the whole context of that with the Solis in the basement, put it in a frame and hang it in a gallery, because it was absolutely beautiful. I know it was a simple thing, but it was just such a great example of what Siege is about and what's great. You had that mixture of utility. You had, you know, finding that location and having Jegs in position to do something about it. Beautiful stuff. Truly beautiful stuff.
Ooh, okay. Does the gravy train deliver all the way to the end of the 12th, Tim? Or is this where the conductor Falcons step out and says, nope, the brakes are on and the party is over. It's time to go home. Let's see how this last one plays out now. Roxon already being a bit of a rat. He's been down here on this pulse the entirety of that prep phase. They do not know that he's here. Well, that's a lot of information we're passing across to his team when they step on forward. Oh, that was you then, Tim.
Well, I would say, have you ever seen me and Pulse in the same room? But
I have
there is a photograph that exists of me and Pulse together. So.
Ah, shit. Okay, never mind.
I know.
Fraud.
Right, the scanner is going. The information is being fed. They know that there's one in or around Visa. It's actually going to be just outside of Visa for the time being. But again, something that Falcons haven't really dealt with. You know, we don't have the Thatcher brought along. We don't have the IQ brought along. They know that the Solus is being played. They know, you know, that the Pulse has been played. They know that the Intel has been a problem. And they haven't really done anything specifically to counter it. They've got Shaiko on the Deimos, but he's not bringing it as a counter. He always plays that up. So, yeah, for me, Falcons haven't adapted enough to what Fnatic are doing so well, to what's working for them.
Hopefully this time round, at least for Falcons, no nasty surprises. No players jumping out windows, C4s heading towards windows, all the things that Fnatic have done to be disruptive. And their call comes out. They're going to move in towards this top floor fast here. Maybe hope to catch someone out, but there is no one here. Looking around, expecting to find someone. But Fnatic have already scattered away every single player, either in the basement or on that first floor. They aren't hanging around up on that top floor, Tim. If nothing else, it gives a bit of freedom to Falcons to move into the building. But half the round has gone, and they've only just got this top floor control. There's still plenty more to figure out in this labyrinth that is Consulate.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a possible problem. It's a possible solution for Fnatic. Either they've wasted half of the round and they've got themselves away safely and will be saying how great that play was at the end of it, or at the problem side of it, they've given a lot of time to Falcons on top floor with the book. They can really start opening things up. The Vendetta as well, creating these angles, making it so that Fnatic can't fight back into sight, create a situation to put a diffuser down on the ground. But Wizard, he's ready for the drop. Leak of Fact gets taken out, and it starts in favour of Fnatic again. That's 6 entries in a row now. 5 versus 4. 40 seconds left to go to decide the fate of what could be an awesome comeback from Fnatic, Des.
They've played so well around the Dockerby calls and the Deimos, knowing that it was coming, playing as far away as they could and giving nothing over to Falcons. They used all that utility and got nothing. Sark's now dug in close, and he might be able to take Shaiko's scalp here, become nemesis throughout this game. The back and forth between them has been ludicrous, and here he is, finds one, now maybe a second as well, almost gets rid of the Blackbeard, and that's hit him. They've got 2 kills, it's a down to nothing, it's a flawless round. Say the line, Tim, because I think it deserves it.
We're going to overtime, Des. Fnatic, 5 rounds in a row. They've just turned it on. They've hit the afterburners in round 8 and 9 and just never looked back. Falcons have not been able to keep pace. Right now, Falcons look punch drunk, Des. They don't know what's going on. We've seen them there just straying into the lines of sight of Fnatic, giving them free kills, cheap and easy. And Fnatic, they're cooking. They're happy to hoover them up. They'll take every bit they're given. 6-6, and we get a few extra rounds.
And I'm pretty sure Fnatic start on defense because the Des were talking about this. Falcons will go here, knowing they get to start on the defense, which means getting into OT. Fnatic get to pick the side they start on, and you'd be a fool not to pick to start defense on this map. I really hope to God we see them on defense now, or I'll cry. Especially how things have played out so far. Yeah, there we go. Fnatic are on defense. That train keeps on going, Tim. There's no brakes installed on it, it turns out. I now really worry for Falcons and their ability to fight back. They need some magic over these next couple of rounds. I don't think Fnatic are ready to give it over.
Similar lineup to the one that we saw in round 10, except the Alibi swaps out to a Smoke and the Vigil swaps out to a Denari. So going to be a slightly different defense here, but it is really fascinating. It's one that I want to go back and look at a later point when the play day finishes, because I want to see what work it is that Deepek's doing underneath. He's always underneath with the Tachanka, opening up Piano, opening up Exhibition, and I think it's about just making the verticality difficult to play for. Again, you can't go in and confidently take control of that area as attackers, because you can be attacked from halfway across the map, and it makes it really, really tricky. But I definitely will be having a look at that one and seeing just exactly how that's working out, because it looks pretty innovative. It's not something that we see teams doing on the regular.
All right, let's see how things go. Big lean towards that Dinar with the Chanka and the Smoke. Spoke about it to death on Bank, of course, on this map. A little bit of a different story and a big focus on this upstairs. So looking for heavy denial around the default plant spot itself, but of course with things like the smoke and the chunk, you can still deny in towards the door at the top of Visa stairs. So lots of options and lots of flexibility afforded by these two operators on this site. On the other side, it's a lean once again in towards the Dockerby team, but I remarked on it in the previous round that Falcons love playing Dockerby, and I hate it when they don't play with the Dockerby. I think they look like a much slower and worse team for not having a Dockerby on side. It's some stats I'll have to go and crunch at some point to see their win rate with versus without. Watch my luck now, and they have a higher win rate without it. It'll kill me. But I think they always capitalize a lot on being able to move forward as a team off the back of a Dockerby call. Now that they've only got that on side, they've already gone through one of those calls and not really made much process off the back of it. I'm a little bit nervous for them. They won't actually have a lot of the resource they need to get the required map control to make and execute happen.
Interesting that they chose to leave meeting walls soft. They've got, if the count up at the top is correct, they've got 2 reinforcements left in pocket, but it was a simple case of getting the Rotero straight on there to open things up. And I know they would have got that done anyway, but I just don't see what you gain from leaving it. Nitro goes out, will not have any joy. Uses manages to find Croxon, not a great start. That is the first round in 7 that Falcons have been able to get that entry kill. Jegs does manage to find a response, takes down Solotov. That's the Pulse and the Grim off the board. So important operators on either side. Falcons right now stacking themselves up on the admin side, looking to get aggressive towards meeting. Likapak, he might just make his way up. He goes through the smoke, he charges up to the top of Spiral, and he's trying to challenge onto the long desk now.
I was going to say another smoke onto Likapak could almost kill him here, or at least force him out of the window. If it wasn't open, he was dead to rights. He's very much pinned in for a second, but they've got to deal with the kills that are now starting to flow through. It's a double for Yus, who's quiet throughout the game, except for those first few rounds that I mentioned earlier on. And I tell you what, stepping onto a drone at this point feels like a bit of a crazy one, but he'll try and get away with it just to get a bit of forward momentum here. Shaiko in for another. Tim, they've absolutely blown through them here. Going to find themselves an attacking round win, like that second half started out with. So now all pressure will move over towards the side of Fnatic. Fire at the ready. This one's a little bit hopeful, I'm afraid. Unless you can get it over towards down, on towards the player going for the plant, it's not going to happen. Falcons, they get the win they need, Tim. Up to match point. All they've got to do is lock down this defensive site.
Yeah, way better attack from Falcons there. I think just looking a little bit less at maybe what Fnatic are doing and more at what they're doing. Just, you know, we're not going to play their games. We don't care what they're doing with the Tachanka downstairs. We don't care, you know, what they're setting up. We're just going to take what's given to us quickly. They open the meeting wall, for example, put that pressure directly into sight, and then we're just going to get aggressive. Up Spiral we go, through admin we go, and we just push in and win gunfights. Falcons there, it feels like have taken a little bit of a reset and said, look, what are we really good at? We're really good at winning gunfights. Let's just go and do that. And it's worked out perfectly for them. So it breaks the 5-round streak that Fnatic were on at that point. It is Falcons' first round in 6 that they will win. But what a time to win it. It gives them an opportunity now to close this out and get themselves 2 points.
Do a system special out of Fnatic, I think. Back what we saw in round. In fact, both teams, I believe, won round 1 to their half, and then since then we've seen nothing. It was this top floor where we saw the win. It was that 1 versus 1 for Deepet that saw things over the line. Thought it was a really good attack back then with the way that they anticipated a swing, for example, coming out from Falcons that simply didn't come. They know how to deal with some of the things that Falcons will throw at them. Could yet extend this on to that last round and probably also then send us down to the basement to see how the game concludes. I'm pretty sure Falcons don't want to see it go, that they want those 2 points here and now and to get this game done. Having a good time, Tim?
I'm having a fantastic time, Des. what a game this has been. You know, it's been brilliant. I'm just sort of sat marveling at the quality that both sides have been able to show in different parts of the game. You know, and a lot of grit and resolve from Falcons in that last round to get it done. Not going to get the entry there as he just sprays through that soft wall, tries to take a guess, and look, sometimes those guesses pay off, but not this time. It will give away his location though. Falcons 50 seconds into the round. And still everybody alive, but Croxon is able to get in on the IQ, start doing a little bit of clearance. Nobody's going to challenge him down there at the...
Changing back.
But now at least, yeah. Just my eyes fall towards Jegs on the shield. I know he's had a pretty quiet game compared to his teammates, but a shield is always one of those main focal points of an attack where the pressure starts to build. We've seen it for Falcons, we see it for Fnatic, we see it for every damn team in the league at this point. Now it's about getting inside and getting the floor softened up exactly the same as they did back in round 1. Make sure they can start getting ready to apply some pressure. Right idea is they've got a tag coming in from Bees as well, coming out from the Grim. Not able to capitalize with Sarks on the below. But again, it's just restricting movement here from those players above, but can also get challenged on the reverse. Nearly loses his life here, Tim. That's what he's got to be careful of. Those holes do work both ways, but it's Croxon to start out with the entry. Shaiko deleted.
Maybe we are going all the way to 15 days. Who knows? That's the Azami lost. No more keeper barricades. Brede taking damage on the Tachanka as well. So you imagine if a nade has gone in that they're aware of his position behind long desk. Users picks up Starks though to level things out. The track will fail. Jags picks up Users. It is just trade for trade at the minute. 5. Just over 50 seconds left. 4 versus 3. Fnatic with an advantage, but also the requirement to do something. And they're taking damage, Des. Over and over again. They're being chipped away at.
They've got to double up with the shield here, same as they did back in the prior round. They're so mindful of top Spiral. They keep on looking across at it, understandably so. But no one on the side of Falcons wants to step in for that just yet. Blackbeard coming in nice and close, but Solotov wins the one. The shield bash comes on through. He's down again and finished off by Jegs. Down to a 3 versus 1. Tim, they're going to hold on here. It's just Brede by himself.
Croxon gets the kill, and we're going to 15, Des. We get every little bit of entertainment out of this, and how about that? We have 2 halves that favour the defenders. 5-1 on the scoreline. Rarely do we get a game so one-sided towards one side or the other. The defenders today won in regulation, but then it's attackers in overtime. Nobody can hold a defence anymore. And that's going to be the final question that we will get an answer to in round 15. Are Fnatic able to do it? They took defense as their option. Is it going to prove to be the right choice? They're the ones who get 2 bites at that cherry. They went for top floor to begin with. I am fascinated to see where they go for their second chance.
We often speak about not replaying that same site and rotating through, but in overtime, that rule kind of gets thrown to the wind because you're bouncing between sides. I expect downstairs. Sure enough, is it not downstairs? Are we an expo? Okay.
Piano
now,
and
this
expo.
is a surprise. Yeah, I thought honestly we'd go to basement, but no. We're going to find ourselves inside of Expo, and I wouldn't be shocked if, again, we see a lot of focus on players running around through basement. If you recall last time, there was the Dockerby and the Deimos. They were trying to hunt players across the top floor and the ground floor, but 3 players of Fnatic, they were down in the basement, Tim. They weren't giving anything over to Falcons. They let them burn through all this utility to get top floor control. And then we're like, yeah, cool. And now we can absolutely slap you about because you have no idea where we're coming from. It was beautiful to watch. Could yet grow to see more of the same. Let's see how it goes. In 3 minutes time, we will know who is the winner. It has been a nail-biting game, but only one can walk away with 2 points.
The only concern for Fnatic is the change in lineup again. It's one of them. It's another one where you can look back on it and say it was genius, they won the round, or you could ask questions about it. I don't hate it. Look, do something different. Yep, mix it up. Keep Falcons on their toes. Keep them guessing. You know, but this is now the 3rd time on this site. It's the 3rd completely different lineup, basically. You know, we've got the Azami brought along this time, the Echo, the Scorpos, the Vigil. Very, very different kind of mentality to the last time they were here when it was the Warden, the Malusi, the Fenrir, the Ella. You know, that was more of a slow down and waste time, make life difficult. This is more of a play out on the roam and try and use that intel and get aggressive onto Falcons. So it's just a completely different play style to what they've won with previously here on Piano and Exposition. Let's see if it pays off for them. For time being, Falcons trying to brute force their way in through the main door.
It's like, we see you. We know everything you're doing. I'm going to chase you around the map here, just watching your heartbeat. Not at all creepy. Wait and see where he steps in, and can't help but look at the number of impacts stacked in the back pockets actually here. Tim as well missed that one entirely. Wow. Normally leaning towards a lot of C4s and playing with the pulse, but instead it's more towards the impact. Shaiko finding himself the one. It's one of the games where we've seen such a defender-sided regulation game, but once we get into OT, it's all about the attackers. And Shaiko, of course, it's that goddamn man. 2 kills here in round 15 to keep them going. Deepek with a bit of a response, but it's still a big fight back. But Deepek, what a shot! Brede. He's getting the plant down, sure. They've had to use no capital utility. And they're stepping in as well, holding on to this one nice and comfortable. What can they do here? They've got to find a kill from somewhere, Tim. No utility they can rely on. Got to find the Blackbeard kill more than anything else. He's the main problem for them to chew through. Yuzus finds the one. It's all down to Deepek, a 2K in the round, but has now got to finish off the rest. And it is, as I say, a very tall order. The Blackbeard staring him down. At the drop of the shield, can finish him off here, no problem at all. He's got to make it happen sometime soon, though. Timmer's going to run out of time here, knocked down to the ground and finished off. He was so close to Fnatic, yet so far, Falcons taking the win 8-7 and walking home with 2 points.